Lawrence Common Council. The meeting is now called to order. It is June 3rd, 2019. I'd ask the gentlemen to come forward that are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if we could all stand for Pledge of Allegiance and prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we thank you for the many blessings that we have, and we thank you for your goodness and your grace and your mercy. Pray, Lord, that you will be over our meeting tonight. Father, that you will let us think with clear minds and open hearts. And I ask, Lord, as we leave here tonight, that we always remember that the words of our mouth and the meditation of our heart always be acceptable in your sight. In your name I ask this. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we have a quorum. Next on the agenda is the Blue Star banner presentation.
You guys can be seated. Thank you. And good evening, everyone. As coordinator of the Blue Star Banner program, it's a privilege for me to serve in this role. Mayor Collier's deep appreciation for our military and the Blue Star sponsors enable this program to continue. As a U.S. history teacher with Lawrence Township Schools for over 33 years, Mayor Collier appreciates, respects, and supports our military for all their contributions. Presenting these We Salute You packets to the families is an honor for him and one of his most favorite duties as the mayor of the city of Lawrence. We'd also like to thank our council members for allowing us to share this presentation as we honor one of our deployed military service members and his family. Police Chief David Hoffman and Fire Chief Dino Patalis, who escorted our family tonight, represent all of our first responders who, like the military, stand at the ready to defend our liberties. We're grateful for your service and dedication and continued support of this program and our military. I'd also like to thank and introduce our military representative, Staff Sergeant Jesse Batters. He is currently with the 3rd Brigade Indianapolis Battalion and assigned to the Indy North Recruiting Company in Castleton. Thank you for your service and for standing in for Sergeant Bell and his family tonight. Thank you. And you guys can be seated. You guys can go ahead and be seated. Thank you. The City of Lawrence Blue Star Banner Program was developed by Candy Davis in 2009, and in 2010, the first 8 banners went up in our city streets. This program honors the men and women who volunteered to go into active military, reserves, or National Guard in order to protect our freedom. The 34 banners currently hanging in our city streets honor those who are actively deployed and stationed either domestically or internationally and are currently away from their family and friends serving our country. In addition to recognizing our military service members, it's also important that we thank their families as well. Many of them are keeping watch, serving our communities, and holding down the fort until their service member returns safely. They too make many sacrifices while their loved ones help defend this great nation. The City of Lawrence now proudly displays a new banner for Sergeant Charles Bell, United States Army. Mayor Collier will now present the We Salute You packet. So, will the Escalante family and stand in, Sergeant Batters, please come forward. I'll put those right there for you. Accepting the We Salute You packet on Charlie's behalf is his very proud and supportive parents, Pam and Phil Escalante. Just as a little side note, Phil's last duty station before retiring was here at Fort Harrison. He served in the U.S. Army. Pam and Phil moved back to Lawrence for Phil's job at DFAS and chose to live on the fort where they can always see his old quarters and now Charlie's banner. Sergeant Charles Charlie Bell, United States Army. Sergeant Bell enlisted in the Army in July 2014 and attended basic combat training and advanced individual training at Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri as a 31 Bravo military policeman. Sergeant Bell trained and represented his region in the Best Warrior competition in 2015. He was nominated for and completed training as a U.S. Army Military Police Investigator, or MPI, in March 2016. In 2017, Sergeant Bell completed training to become Air Assault Qualified. Charlie's duty station assignments have included U.S. Army Garrison Bavaria in Garmisch, Germany, and Fort Campbell in Kentucky. He recently returned from Germany in April after a 9-month deployment with his company, the 551st Military Police Company, the Hooligans. They were awarded Best MP Company for 2018. Charlie will be leaving for Kuwait next month, where he will serve as lead MP investigator. Upon his return in July 2020, he'll be stationed at Fort Lewis, Washington. Thank you, Pam and Philip.
Joe just left out is that he's already being recruited by Chief Operations now.
Thank you. You guys can be seated. The city'd also like to recognize Sergeant Kirk T. Bilbrey, Indiana Army National Guard, for his second deployment. Even though he was only 10 years old at the time of 9/11, he was deeply affected by it. His first deployment was in 2013-14 in Afghanistan, and currently serving his second deployment in Kuwait. That concludes our Blue Star Banner family presentation this evening. Mayor Collier and I thank you for allowing us to recognize our military, and to all who are currently serving, and for all our veterans who have served our country, we thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have comments of council members and special recognitions or resolutions.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilor Jones?
I'd like to recognize Troop 686 from Geist Christian Church tonight, Troop Leader Amy Anderson, and also the 3 young men, Jacob, Max, and Jason, for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. They're here for their Communications Merit Badge, and I wish them the best of luck, and thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you. Any other counselors? Okay, Counselor Matt Hall requested that I speak on his behalf. He's doing his 2 weeks away in the military for his 2 weeks for the reserve, but he has been working very diligently on trying to identify and come up with creative ways to secure funding for some trails here in Lawrence, and he would just ask that the council members keep that in mind and consider supporting some of the ideas that he's going to have coming forward. So I just wanted to pass that along on his behalf. Are there any other comments? Okay, seeing none. We have approval of minutes of regular meetings of May 6th and April 15th, 2019. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion, Counselor Parker.
Second.
Second, Counselor Freeman. Any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion carries unanimous. Next on the agenda, we have signing of vouchers, approval of claims, and authorization of payment. Is there a motion?
Make the motion.
Motion, Counselor Freeman.
Second.
Second, Counselor Chevlot. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor by show of hands? Unanimous, the motion carries. Next, we have reports of committees. There are none. We have unfinished business. There is none. Under new business, we have proposal number 4, 2019.
Proposal number 4, 2019, introduced by Councilor Chevlot, a proposal for an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Lawrence, Indiana, amending the Lawrence Municipal Code to establish an all-way stop intersection at Oakland Hills Court and Oakland Hills Drive.
Okay, that will be assigned to code. Next on the agenda is comments of the administration.
President Chavis, in the interest of time, I'm going to have Police Chief Hoffman read a statement to her statement. Before he gets up there, I'm going to tell you that you went one of the most efficient meetings I've ever been to, so thank you.
Thank you. So we have Chief Hoffman and Deputy Chief Bigsby here.
We have received numerous emails, social media posts, Nextdoor, Facebook. A lot of people in our community are concerned about violence and crime. And with your approval and with the mayor's approval to use this time, I'd like to deliver a kind of an update on where we're at in Lawrence. And this isn't an effort to help. We're always trying to reduce crime. This is an effort to help reduce the fear of crime. So the City of Lawrence occupies 20 square miles and is home to nearly 50,000 residents. The overwhelming majority of those who go about their daily lives working, living, or visiting the City of Lawrence do so without the fear of being targeted by criminals or violent crime. Usually, but not always, we find that people engaged in unlawful actions, they're actually the ones who are caught up in the incidents of violence. For those who participate in illegal activities, it's risky. It's risky because there's risk of getting hurt or worse in the actions of their lifestyles. Another risk, of course, is being caught and arrested, and we respond to every incident immediately, regardless of the circumstances surrounding which they occurred, or surrounding the incidents. The women and men of our police department work tirelessly in an effort to prevent and respond to investigate the crime that does occur. This was never more evident than last week when on Wednesday a criminal homicide occurred at 56th Street and Boy Scout Road. Our officers and detectives worked nonstop until those responsible were identified and arrested, and they're sitting in jail right now. Last fall, the City of Lawrence recruited and hired 9 new police officers to fill slots on the LPD roster that had been vacant and to replace officers who were recently retired. The process to hire and train a police officer takes nearly a year to complete. Those 9 new officers, I'm proud to report, are fully trained and they are functioning on their own in a law enforcement capacity. We now have 14 officers per shift assigned in the operations division. There have been and are many shifts where we have 10 police officers on duty in the City of Lawrence. It wasn't that long ago that LPD went to work with 1 officer assigned on the east side and 1 officer assigned on the west side and a single supervisor. As the city has grown and thrived, along with that comes a very small percentage of people who do not choose to obey the law. As a result, LPD partners with the Marion County Prosecutor's Office and has a full-time member of that office who is a deputy prosecuting attorney working alongside our detectives every day to ensure that the most appropriate charges are filed in the cases our officers investigate. This is so that criminals in Lawrence are held accountable for their actions. LPD is embedded with the Central Indiana Metropolitan Drug Task Force, which is a specially trained and equipped group of up to 20 full-time experienced narcotics detectives. Detectives from this unit just assisted in the investigation of the 56th and Boy Scout Road incident. The team not only investigates reported drug activity in Lawrence and serves search warrants, but they also make arrests and file serious drug charges in felony courts in Marion County. Along with the LPD SWAT team, they just recently effected the arrest of numerous drug suspects in a Lawrence home and dismantled a serious methamphetamine operation that was in the western edge of our city. LPD has been anticipating the implementation of a specialized summer effort to address violent crime and focus on street-level possession cases involving illegal firearms and narcotics, the arrest of individuals named in warrants, and other illegal behavior. This is set to begin soon and will continue throughout the summer. Target areas will include densely populated Lawrence apartment complexes and public areas where crime is occurring and we think will be likely to occur. These officers will respond to community crime complaints that they receive from the mayor's office, from my office, from our numerous crime watch groups, businesses, schools, churches, and of course directly from citizens. They will employ special tactics and engage in field interviews, Terry stops, traffic enforcement, and warrant services. They will work during various hours. They will be unpredictable. They will be active and assertive with constitutional requirements and protections always in mind. Their activities will be video and audio recorded by the LPD body-worn camera program, which is the most advanced in the nation. The LPD regularly collaborates with the Marion County Sheriff's Office, the Marion County Probation Division, to conduct probation sweeps. LPD is a member agency of the Indianapolis Violence Reduction Partnership, which is a group of investigators from Marion and surrounding counties who meet regularly to share information and develop intelligence regarding violent crime. We work closely and regularly with our federal partners at the FBI and the ATF. Multiple LPD law enforcement detectives are members of the FBI and ATF task forces, and this allows us to leverage our federal law enforcement resources right here at home. Federal agents and LPD detectives seek federal charges on serious crimes whenever possible, and we work with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Indiana for these federal prosecutions. LPD also participates in the new Indianapolis Crime Gun Information Center, where crimes are connected across jurisdictional agencies through the examination of fired bullet casings recovered at various scenes. Unfortunately, and realistically, the city of Lawrence is not immune from the violence and crime sweeping all communities in central Indiana, from Avon to Zionsville and major metropolitan cities nationwide. So far, 64 criminal homicides have occurred this year in Marion County. 2 of those have occurred in Lawrence. We all agree that the only acceptable number in this category is 0. And that's because right now, 64 families within Marion County are experiencing the unimaginable devastation of losing a loved one to violent crime. It is simply intolerable. The Lawrence Police Department will continue to relentlessly pursue those people who knowingly and intentionally engage in illegal activities and a criminal lifestyle that can result in violence and homicide. The law-abiding citizens of Lawrence deserve nothing less than the fullest protection and service of the department. LPD will continue to be responsive and adaptable. All of this is occurring at a time when the city of Lawrence is investing in its police department like never before, and that we will finally have a police station that will meet the complex needs of this department and the community. This will enable our officers to perform their duties safer and more efficiently. Current conditions that have been in place for decades have hampered the department's effectiveness, and that's about to change thanks to you and the investment in an adequate police headquarters. In other areas of LPD, there are programs in place designed to build community trust and to help our officers reach out to children and young adults and divert them from criminal activity. We work closely with our colleagues at the Metropolitan School District of Lawrence Township and all of our schools. LPD works to bring resources to those who are less fortunate and reach out to those citizens who may be suffering from mental illness, homelessness, poverty, or are otherwise vulnerable or neglected. The fight against crime is much broader than simply putting handcuffs on criminal offenders. Areas such as behavioral health and community involvement must also be part of the plan, and we are very active in our community relations efforts. These are just a few updates on what we are doing in Lawrence to keep our citizens safe. I know that many citizens have been very concerned recently. Just one newscast on the nightly news gives reason. And I remain personally available to provide more specific information that I can't share here in a public forum if you or any of your constituents have any, or I'm open to suggestions on how we can improve our service to this great community. And with that, I will close and thank you all for the opportunity to answer these questions that a lot of people in Lawrence have had.
Thank you, Chief Hoffman.
Thank you.
Any other comments of the administration?
Good evening. I'd just like to update the council that State Board of Accounts has been in the building for a few weeks now, auditing our 2018 financials, which is actually a very good thing. If you remember back in 2016, we had recently received the 2013 and 14 audit, so we are now being audited on an annual basis. We should have those results coming soon, and when we get those, I'll update the council at that time, but just wanted to let you guys know that's where things stand with the State Board of Accounts.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, seeing none. Next on the agenda is citizens' comments. There's no citizens' comments. We're adjourned.